they should send a little beer too. Those folks have earned a nice cold beer. Well, California's pension liabilities are out of control. For example, let's take a look at taxpayer-funded retirement benefits paid to educators. Here's a clip from Bakerfield's local Eyewitness News.
Unfortunately, it's not just one. There's 13 in the Bakersfield School District making over $100,000 a year in retirement.
It does sound like a lot, but he was a superintendent.
Well, superintendent or not, they go on to report that statewide, the group says the biggest pension paid in 2014 went to a retired Orange County educator who got a payout of $347,856. Not bad. It's also the amount required by state law that must be paid out. For more on the doomed California pension system, we're joined now by Lawrence McQuillan. Lawrence, good to have you with us.
Thank you, John. Great to be with you.
All right, your new book is called California Dreaming, Lessons on How to Resolve America's Public Pension Crisis. You're also a senior fellow at the Independent Institute. Let's talk about this a little bit, Lawrence. We look at California. 86 defined benefit public pension plans are underfunded by roughly $430 billion, according to your book. How in the world are they ever going to dig out of this? You say it's the biggest problem they've faced since the Great Depression.
Right. I think it's the biggest fiscal challenge that California faces right now. And the best way to get out of it is to switch to a 401k style defined contribution plan like most private sector businesses have done, and even a lot of the public sector around the country have done. So it's a much more affordable, transparent, and fiscally sustainable approach, which is to replicate what's done in the private sector for the public sector, especially in California.
Now, I believe this idea was pitched on a national level, not necessarily for pension plans, but for more folks, by President George W. Bush. And a lot of folks said, whoa, look what would have happened after the 2008 financial crisis. But of course, we know the stock markets are back up near all-time high now, so are 401ks. So is this being considered now in a more serious way?
It is. In 2016, it looks like there's going to be a ballot initiative in California which would allow a switch for all employees to a 401k style plan. And in my book, I propose a 10% contribution by public agency employers. So a very generous plan. It's not like this would harm public employees in any way. It would be much more generous than anything that most people would have in the private sector, for example.
Let me get this right, though.
By moving to...
You're talking about a 10% contribution from public employees. In most places, you're lucky if you get 2% from your 401k for a match. That's what you're talking about?
Right. Right, yeah, the public employer would contribute 10% into an account controlled by the employee, and it's much more generous. I mean, in the private sector, it's about 3 to 4% average for those who get an employment-based defined contribution 401k plan. Although 55% of all private sector employees don't get any kind of employment-based retirement plan.
That's an excellent point.
10% defined contribution plan for the public sector in California would still be very generous, but would save billions of dollars that could be used then to pay down the debt that's accrued to this point.
All right, and so we know this is a problem not just in California, but also in other places. We see the bankruptcy filing in Detroit as well. Lawrence, we just got about 20 seconds left. Do you see this expanding to other parts of the country besides maybe the Rust Belt or California, other big pension problems elsewhere?
I mean, I don't think they'll have any kind of alternative. I mean, I think it's going to have to happen to save not only what's been earned up to this point, because we've seen in Detroit that public pensions aren't sacrosanct anymore. I mean, they can be clipped in bankruptcy. So I think the only way to save these plans is to transition to a defined contribution and use the savings to backfill the debt and pay off the debt that's already been earned by...
All right, Lawrence, we got to wrap it up there. We do appreciate that. We want to get to your book before we let you go. It's called California Dreaming, Lessons on How to Resolve America's Public Pension Crisis. It's up on the screen right now. Lawrence, thanks for being with us.